Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of the Murphy Street Podcast. I'm the host of the show, Murphy. And the rules on Murphy Street are simple, always the same. Shoes and slippers at the door. Come inside and let's talk story. All right, you guys. Well, this is the second episode of the fifth season. That's right. It's Murphy Street Podcast has been on for 5 seasons now. This is the fifth season. It's quite crazy if you think about it. I remember the first episode, man, was wild. I had no idea what to do, and here we are, five episodes in. So yeah, just want to say thank you so very much for giving me a reason to always come back for 5 seasons. All right, but here's a little quick change up, just so everybody is familiar. Now, one, it's always great if you guys can follow me on Spreaker, on Apple Podcasts, wherever else you guys hear this. But anytime that you guys drop in, how's it going, everybody on the TikTok verse? I appreciate you guys for coming in. We are going to be talking some Star Wars this evening. That is right. We have some news about the potential future, I will say, of Star Wars. And of course, everybody is wondering, obviously, is there going to be a second season of Ahsoka? Now, I came across a article that I'm going to be, I guess, bringing out some information from to share with you guys, because I know I'm not the only one going, man, when is the next time we're going to see some Ahsoka in our life, right? But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to start by saying, one, thank you very much for giving me a reason to come back every week to do these podcasts for the fifth season, you guys. And of course, hey, Jackie, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate you. But definitely know that between Star Wars and Marvel and Disney, we will always be talking about whatever is in with collector culture. I guess you can call it pop culture, what have you. But also, I think I'm going to cut the shows down a little bit. So I'm going to half what we normally do. Ordinarily, it's like a 30-minute show, but we're going to make it a 15-minute show. And see how audiences respond to that, just so, people aren't, getting tired of my voice, I guess, what have you. But anyway, all right, you guys. So let's talk about what I've come across for the Ahsoka second season. I'm assuming that's what caught your attention, because if it wasn't, then I have no idea why. But first of all, I want to say shout out to, of course, From the Heart Hawaii. You're looking for any of these toys, and definitely any of the Funkos or Pokemon stuff, From the Heart Hawaii is the place to go. My guy Ken. I'm normally always in there doing the podcast because I'm going to start to do them a little more frequently, and again, in shorter spurts. Instead of 30 minutes, they're going to be 15 minutes. That's what I'm going to be aiming for anyway. I may not necessarily always be coming live from the Heart of Hawaii, but you'll see me from some cool venues. So anyway, all right, let's talk about Ahsoka season 1 in order to talk about Ahsoka season 2, right? So I have to admit, I'm still disappointed with the way the first season ended. Obviously, Ezra made it back to the ship, and then we see him reunite with Hera and Chopper, and that part was cool, right? And so he can chase down Thrawn now. They can go off and they can have that thing, but Sabine and Ahsoka are still stuck on Peridea. I'm going to admit to you guys, man, I don't think I was thinking that was going to be what happened. So when that did happen, what's going on, Dubs? How's it going, brother? So when that did happen, I was completely shocked. Absolutely crazy shocked. But here's the thing, right, guys? So though Sabine, who was played by Natasha Liu Bordozzo, with the lightsaber got better, because I will admit I was not the biggest fan of Sabine live action, because Natasha Liu Bordozzo, for whatever reason, just wasn't striking the chord that I thought Sabine should be. And I don't know. You might feel different. I will say she got better towards the end, but I did figure out the recipe, and we'll talk about it here in this snippet here. But with the lightsaber, Sabine got better, and I'm hoping they realize that with her helmet on is a better play. That is what I'm saying is the secret. I'm saying if we give Sabine the chance to go on to be a little more like Din Djarin, where I don't know how much we'd really be invested or love the Mandalorian or Din Djarin if he, Happy New Year, brother, if he had his helmet off a lot of times. If we saw Pedro Pascal, again, I'm not saying Pedro Pascal is not a good actor. As a matter of fact, his resume would suggest quite the contrary. But nonetheless, I feel like we were drawn to the Mandalorian character because of the lines in the helmet, because we had no idea of what was really going on between that mask, and it's that mystere that really helped us as an audience to connect, which is funny, because that's normally what you would think is the thing that keeps you divided, right? But no, I think it was exactly the opposite when it came to the Mandalorian. But like I said, I think that Sabine with her helmet on would be a much better play, and I'm hoping that we see a little more of that in the season 2. The ending was anticlimactic, in my opinion, and requires at least another season, if not 2 seasons, you guys. That's my opinion. at least 2 seasons, but or at least another season, if not 2 more, to really conclude a storyline and conflict that was getting really good. The things happening in the show Ahsoka was getting really, really good, you guys. I was getting invested and I was digging it. And that was Thrawn, right? These are the things that was in that show, was Thrawn. There was still an intriguing Shin-Hati Baylan Skull storyline, which obviously, because Ray Stevenson's passing, rest in peace to Ray Stevenson, because of his passing, that part, the Baylan Skulls part, might be cut short. And who knows, maybe they'll use deep fakes and all that stuff to maybe bring it back to life. But man, that would have been one that I was looking forward to seeing, that other path that Baylan Skull was trying to walk. But we still have Shin-Hati, that's still there. And that, of course, like I said, that Baylan Skull one. But make no mistake about it, it was the one storyline that I wanted to see of everything that was branching off and happening in the Ahsoka series. Definitely the Baylan Skull, Shin-Hati. I was like, man, this is what I want to see going forward. There was still Senator Siono. I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one on this. Tell me I'm not the only one on this tell me I can't be the only one on this that wants to see exactly what the motives of Senator Siono was. If you guys don't remember who Senator Siono was, he was played by Nelson Lee. He was an Asian guy on the Senate that would always give Hera a hard time anytime she tried to come and ask for any type of support from the Senate. That was him. That was Senator Siono. So who I would have loved to watch the character reveal who or what or why his character behaved the way it did towards Hera in the show. Like I said, he pretty much shot down every single thing Hera ever came to the council with. So we never folded in Zeb from The Mandalorian. Remember, we got to see Zeb in The Mandalorian season 3, albeit it was just a quick glimpse, right? But we got to see him, and I was very, very, very surprised that we never got to fold him in to this. Heck, we never even saw the Star Wars Rebel Ghost Crew, even though, granted, Kanan Jarrus not going to be there, right? Because he's already dead pretty much in this one, because he dies in Rebels. But who knows? You can bring people back. But anyway, the Ghost Crew would, in its entirety, that would have been amazing. And I know I'm not the only person that thinks that, right? Because the Ghost Crew is made up of, who would the Ghost Crew have been? Where do I have? I swear I have the names of the people on the Ghost Crew. That would be Sabine, that would be Hera, that would be Jason, that would be Chopper, that would be Zeb. Am I missing anybody? I think that's them, right? And if I come across the names, obviously Ahsoka, if you want to call Fulcrum as one of the Ghost Crew, that's acceptable as well. I would also accept that. But to see them would be dope, and we didn't get to see them yet. So I do feel like at some point in time we will return to that, just so that we can make that connection, just so we can see the Ghost Crew all together, and then really get that feel for that Rebel show, because that show really did well. But if that does happen, you guys, and mark my words, if we do see the Ghost Crew come all together again and they start to adventure together again, which would be a great live action show. There'd be no mistake about it. I don't think you could call the show the Ahsoka show anymore, though. If that did happen, I think you would barely be able to call it that by the end of the season, because you see just the storyline itself, it involves so many different moving parts and pieces and characters that to call it one character like the Ahsoka show, I think at this point we as an audience understand the show is going to be happening, and as the show progresses, there are going to be other storylines that we now as an attentive audience are going to be like, oh, there's a spinoff, oh, there's another spinoff, right? Because it's just what they do with us at Disney Plus. Like I'll say we get treated to that. Like we always get treated. How's it going, Studio Mike? And how's it going, everybody on the TikTok verse? I see you guys dropping in. I appreciate it. If you guys got comments, by all means, go ahead, put them up in there. I'd love to see that. But in an article from theuniverse.com, and let's actually get to the question, because a lot of people don't know. Like, I don't even truthfully know, right, if Ahsoka Season 2 is happening. So let's see. Let's see what theuniverse.com's conversation said. So in an article from theuniverse.com written by Days Johnston, I'm assuming it's Days, it's spelled like Daisy minus the Y. So Days Johnston, when asked about a possible sequel season, Rosario Dawson, while on the Dagobah Dispatch podcast, I haven't listened to it, but definitely go check them out because, well, they got lots of better guests than I do. I actually don't have any guests right now, and normally don't, but anyway, on the Dagobah Dispatch podcast, admitted that she had no clue about the future, and there had been no talk about a season 2 up to this point. I know, I'm sorry, guys. I hope, please don't hate me, but hold on now. Okay. This isn't a podcast about bad news. So I just need you to exercise some patience as we work through this podcast. I promise you'll be all right about it by the time we're done. All right. So when asked if she'd heard anything about season 2 of her lead character's show, she simply said no. She went on to talk about a dinner and being envious watching her co-stars go to cons that she wasn't able to attend, but it was pretty cut and dry. Now, I follow Diane Inosanto, who played the man, what was her name? She was one of the Knights. She eventually became one of the Night Sisters. What was her name? But anyway, I follow her, and I know that right now she is in New Orleans. So if you guys don't follow her, check out Diana Inosanto. She is great. She played Morgan Elsbeth. Thank you. That was her name. She plays Morgan Elsbeth, and she's in New Orleans right now because I believe they have their own con coming up on the 6th. So that, she's going to be a part of that. So that's pretty cool to see that. But anyway, that's what Rosario Dawson is saying, that she's envious of watching her co-stars do that. But if you were looking for even a sliver of salvation, we're not going to talk about Rosario Dawson. We're going to talk about Eman Esfandi, because he might be doing his well-timed Ezra Bridger appearance once again. Sort of. All right? And the reason why I say that is because I sort of say that because is your allegiance to the Ahsoka show alone, there may not be much hope or much to glean from this comment. But if you're here as a fan of the saga in general, or just love to see storylines blossom forth from shows like, for instance, Ahsoka blossom forth from The Mandalorian, right? So if you're interested in seeing shows continue to move forward, then he has definitely thrown out a sturdy lifeline. Listen to this, you guys. He told The Hollywood Reporter, including a potential season 2 and the film Mandoverse. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that definitely started to pick up news recently. The Dave Filoni's upcoming feature, and actually it's been commented that it actually is going to be done by Jon Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, and Dave Filoni, which sounds one of those names, and I'm not going to say which one of those 3 names, but if you just use 2 of those names, it'll be great. I think one of those is Dead Weight, shall we call it? But anyway, we're not going to get into the Kathleen Kennedy discussion here. But yes, so I think I'll be very involved, is what Eman Esfandi said about his role as Ezra Bridger in a potential season 2 of Ahsoka, or even the Mandoverse, which is, of course, now been confirmed that a movie is coming forth for The Mandalorian. So very cool, right? Very, very cool. Now, from everything I've learned, and this is continuing the quote, from everything I've learned about Star Wars and what's canon at the moment and the way Dave and everyone seems to be writing and moving forward, I think Ezra plays a very pivotal role, which is exciting. So if you like Ezra, if you like that Ghost Crew, if you like the Rebels feel, it does feel like it's going to be live and sturdy as we move forward. Now, the Johnston article goes on to write, quote, "That makes sense. The Ahsoka finale made a big deal of getting Ezra back to his home galaxy in pursuit of Thrawn. So while Ahsoka Tano's future may be in question, her show's legacy will carry on elsewhere. Maybe that's not quite enough to satisfy fans, but it's a start." And I would agree with that. Now, but don't be sorely disheartened, Ahsoka fans. Now, if you're a fan of Ahsoka, do not be disheartened. Hold on. Okay? I will remind you, The Mandalorian Season 2 launched in 2020. Mandalorian Season 2 launched in 2020. It took a full 3 years in between the end of season 2 and season 3, the beginning of season 3. We had to wait 3 years. So even though we don't get anything next year, even though we don't get anything the year following, there is still hope for a potential season 2 for the Ahsoka series. So make sure that you guys hold on to that. And I will say this as a Star Wars fan. The time did seem to fly by as far as waiting for The Mandalorian Season 3 to come out. I remember that time in between. And in the very beginning, it was like, oh, when is it coming? When is it coming? And then things start to fill in. Remember, you guys, here we go. Not only that, but we do still have The Acolyte, which I am very much looking forward to. I'm very much looking forward to The Acolyte. And of course, Skeleton Crew, which I am not so much looking forward to. But it's a story about 4 kids, from what I understand, that try to find their way across the galaxy and are helped by Jude Law, who's the Jedi, the requisite Jedi in the entire thing. So yeah, that's happening with Skeleton Crew. And also, not to mention Bad Batch Season 3, if that's any consolation. I know I'm a huge Bad Batch fan, but I almost say that in reference to their initial showing on Season 7, Episodes 1, 2, 3, 4. That's when I fell in love with the Bad Batch, and that is the Bad Batch that I love. What happened in seasons 1 and seasons 2, meh, meh. I do like the costume changes. That was dope. They did a good job of that. But other than that, man, I don't. Season 3, I'm obviously it's confirmed to be the finale season for the Bad Batch. And again, I don't know when we got into these like 1, 2, 3 season like mini things. Like I always imagined, and you know, I'm from a time of like Cheers, where it's like 30 seasons, right? Seinfeld went for how long? So for them to only do a couple seasons like that, really baffles me as far as why they do that. Andor has a season 2 coming out that I'm excited about. But, you know, shows like WandaVision on the Marvel side of things. Hawkeye really felt like just like a single season vehicle, and I don't know why. I will say I don't know why we felt like doing that, but also Disney Plus affords Disney that luxury, right? They can just kind of do these little one-off things to kind of fill in the gaps, or even create new characters like Echo, which we'll talk about in just a moment before I sign off. But yeah, those things, right? So Bad Batch season 3, The Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew all confirmed coming out in 2024. So make sure that you guys hold on for that. But yeah, you guys, so this is what I'm talking about, where I am saying that I will make the podcast shorter. I'm going to actually conclude at this point for this podcast. Now, I will say this, you guys. The next podcast will be within the next few days, and that one will be more Marvel-centric. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to watch the Echo series. I only got about 2 episodes in, and I will say this. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, and I like the fact that they folded in spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched Echo yet, if you have every intention of watching Echo and you have not watched it yet, spoiler, turn your face away, mute the thing right now for like the next 10 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1. They got the Daredevil. We saw the Daredevil. He comes in. So who knows who else is going to be coming in? But yes, that was one of the early cameos that had me like, yes, finally something I absolutely dig and love. So looking forward to watching the rest of the Echo series, and I'll be coming back in a day or two. I'll definitely put it on my page on Instagram at Murphy Street 808. It's the same as a TikTok here. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure that you do, so you can keep up with the news on when my next podcasts are coming out, because I will do them at least twice a week, if not more often now. I can't guarantee that I'll always be on both lives at the same time, but definitely TikTok. I'll find my way to you guys, and of course my Instagram people. I do appreciate you guys. But yes, so having said that, we are at exactly the sweet spot of where I want to conclude, so that people don't get tired of my voice, people don't get tired of the content, and they show back up next episode, which again will be out in at the very most, it'll take about 2 days. So by Friday, expect a new episode to come out. And again, if you do not follow me on Instagram, make sure that you do. It's the same handle as it is here on TikTok. It is at Murphy Street 808. If you don't follow me here on TikTok, make sure that you do, because at Murphy Street 808, I drop a lot of stuff, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do giveaways. Now, also, here's the other thing, because I'm pushing my TikTok just a little harder. I will say this, I will be dropping my hype shirt, and it is a Amazing Fantasy Hawaiian inspired Spider-Man shirt. I will be dropping that. I actually, if you go back a couple TikToks ago, I actually talked about it, and I kind of even teased the print. So I'm going in tomorrow, and I may do a short TikTok that I'll also share on the Instagram verse to make sure that the color corrections and everything on the shirt are good. And once I get the samples, we're going to start to roll it out. I do have prints, and that should be going out as well. But yeah, just thought I would share that with you guys. So please make sure that you guys are following me, so that you guys can stay up on the things. But okay, you guys, as I said, please make sure that you follow me across X or Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. They're all at Murphy Street 808. On YouTube, where I drop a lot of stuff as well, that is Murphy Street Productions. Obviously, now that I have a little more consistency in my schedule, I'll probably be doing the television show again, so I will be looking for your support for that. But until we get to that point, you guys, I just want to say have a great night. Have a happy new year. I will be coming back with more stuff, whether it's Marvel, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Disney. You will know. I will tell you here. Also, congratulations to Aloha Khan. Those guys did a great job. That's the Aloha Card Shop. And so it seemed to be a huge success. They had Mitsuhira, Arita, and they had a bunch of like X-Men comic book people, artists, and a bunch of YouTube guys too. So definitely seemed to do really well. Also, I know that my sister is starting her own YouTube page. For her talk show. She already has, I think, her own YouTube, but make sure to follow her talk show. She is at Fantastic Frankie, I think, or at Fanboy Fighter. One of those. My sister is amazing. She's a much bigger social media footprint than I have, but definitely for more engaging content. Mine's is, I don't want to say to spoil the id, because, I just talk about the stuff that we see. My sister likes to dig into allegory and all those types of different angles, where I try to keep it a little more peaceful and just talk about the things that we dig. But my sister is definitely insightful and excited and passionate about what she's talking about, which is all of this stuff. And she covers anime. She goes hard into comics, and she's younger than me, which is funny because she seems to have a deeper library that she can call back encyclopedically, as a matter of fact. So definitely watch her stuff. Fantastic Frankie, Fanboy Fighter. I love you, little sister. But yeah, you guys, until we meet again the very next time, I just want to say thank you so very much for dropping in, especially you guys here on the TikTok verse, you guys here on the IG verse. Without you guys, man, I don't know if I'd be here at season 5. So having said that, everybody, as we always say here on Murphy Street, before we end, don't forget your slippers. Aloha. Hey, you guys still on, huh? Yeah, it's not working. So I'm trying to cut it, but my Instagram people are still looking at me. This was a show about Ahsoka season 2. What did I tell you about it? Go back and watch. But just know that it had to do more with Eman and Esfandi, if it comes for good news, than it did with Rosario Dawson. But long story short, the Mandoverse was confirmed, and season 2 of Ahsoka, not so much. So again, check us out on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, whatever you get your podcast from, and we'll see you guys next time. Shoes, don't forget your slippers. Aloha.